My brother is on the USA Youth National Fly Fishing team, and right now they are preparing for the world competition. To prepare, my brother practices fishing almost daily, but since he goes to school and doesn't want to leave too far, he mainly looks at the rivers and lakes in Colorado. To prepare for his practice, he spends hours searching up every river he can think about and all the different information to help him understand the river conditions to ensure that his practice is effective. Let's say, for example, he wants to go to San Juan Spud Mountain. San Juan Spud Mountain and precipitation. He will go to the USDA.gov website and slowly get there, and finally, his information is portrayed and he can make some decisions about where to go. Except he can't, because this is only one piece of information, or for one location. You can imagine the tabs fill up as he tries to figure out where he should go. So I created a program to fix this inefficient planning. Let's open it on NetBeans to start off with, the GUI. All right, here's the GUI. There's a lot of information here, but it's all necessary for the preparation. But before I go through how each thing works, I'm actually going to run through this with my verification tests. All right, let's start. Test if the program opens. As you can see, it opens in NetBeans, but I gave my brother a .jar file, which can be opened through the terminal, and I explained how to do this to him, and it works on his computer as well. So let's open it through the .jar file. Ooh, Java, let's just copy what I did earlier. Goodness, there we go. And it should open. Perfect. Same functionality, everything is just the same, except I'm going to use the other one for now as I can look at the code if I'm on NetBeans as well. Let's move on to the next one. Test if the map displays. Not everyone, like my brother, has an exact memory of every single river in Colorado, so this map is just helpful if you want to know what rivers are in what counties to make your decisions for anyone to use this, as that's part of the plan for this program, is that because it's a jar file, it can be shared with other people in Colorado trying to understand the river conditions. And perfect, you close it, it does not close the program. Next, test if the help button works. Again, if anyone is using this that doesn't know what to do at first, the help button gives you a little message. Choose a location and data type. Very simple. Test if the input on the location checkboxes work. So, in theory, you can input every single one on these checkboxes. Usually people don't need all of them, but it doesn't actually take that long. I had to do that for some of my testing, and it works perfectly fine. Let's see if the test, actually right while we're here, I'm gonna actually check if no data type is given, because right now I haven't chosen a data. So let's try nothing and see what happens. Please choose a data type. Okay, perfect, it tells you what to do, and you get a little error. Checked. All right, next one. Let's test input on the data type. You should be able to only choose one at a time. That's just the way that the USDA website works. It doesn't really appreciate if you try to input many different things on the URL for the API. Let's finally test the output on the table. So we were looking at San Juan and precipitation. But let's add some other ones in, as he probably wants to go other places, maybe Boulder. And here is all of the data nicely displayed, and he's able to look at all of this to make his decision. Let's make sure it's here. Spud Mountain. Lovely. Okay, let's actually check something, because part of this is to make sure that the URL is the same on the website, and I actually have it written out so it gives me the URL, so we can plug this in and see where this API takes us, and make sure that the information here is the same as what is portrayed in the table. Perfect. It seems to be the same. All the info is there. Okay, next point. Let's test the restart button. Make sure everything is clear, and you can't click it with start. Good. The reset is really important for this government website. APIs need to be read over and over, and we're creating new URLs each time. Finally, let's move on to the validation tests. Let's check if there's no data for the locations chosen. Please choose at least one county. Next, let's see, we already checked if no locations were clicked, and no data type. Finally, this is if the database outputs a null data point. So this is actually really hard to show because the database doesn't usually output a null data point. As you can see, it's very organized. However, if it were to do that, the way that my the way that my code sorts through the array would cause a large issue if we go up to the sorting. It moves everything along, so you get a really messed up looking table. So I added a little for loop to make sure that that doesn't happen, and it shifts everything along if that point is empty. It's hard to find an example of this right now, but I can assure you it happened in the past, and my code works through it. Okay, and final thing to test is some of these errors. Let's put in something to make sure that if there is no information, it doesn't just stall, it tells you that it's an error. Let's try wind speed and mineral. Perfect, an error. There is no data contained, and we can actually check this again in the output with my URL. All right, no data here, and it gives you an error. That is the project. Thank you so much for listening.